Hi, welcome back. Have you ever held a simple quarter in your hand, not knowing it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars? Today, we uncover 5 of the most valuable and bizarre state quarter errors that could be sitting in your pocket right now. First up, the year 2000 marked another fascinating chapter in the widely popular 50 state quarters program, a U.S. Mint initiative that managed to capture the imagination of millions of collectors, both casual and professional. Among the quarters issued that year was the South Carolina State Quarter, a coin that celebrates the Palmetto State's deep historical roots and rich cultural identity. Yet, while hundreds of millions of these quarters were struck and released into circulation, a small handful emerged with one of the most captivating mint errors a collector can hope to find: the off-center strike. The South Carolina State Quarter features a reverse design bursting with symbolism. The central image outlines the shape of the state itself. Within that outline sits the Carolina wren, the state bird delicately perched, while the state flower, the yellow jessamine, frames the scene with its graceful blossoms. The sabal palmetto tree, from which the state takes its nickname, stands tall, representing resilience, strength, and the rich heritage of South Carolina. The inscriptions, South Carolina, the Palmetto State, and the mintage year, 2000 inches, complete the design, alongside the motto, E pluribus unum. Under normal conditions, each of these design elements fits perfectly on the face of the coin, precisely aligned as intended by the engraver. However, in rare instances, mechanical mishaps at the U.S. Mint cause some coins to be struck improperly, leading to the remarkable off-center strike errors that have become treasured pieces in the world of numismatics. Off-center strikes occur when the planchet, the blank metal disc that will become the coin, is not seated correctly within the striking chamber of the press. When the dies come together to strike the coin, they impress the design onto the blank, but because the planchet is off-center, only part of the design is transferred. The remainder of the coin often appears blank or partially struck, depending on how far off-center the planchet was positioned. In the case of the 2000 South Carolina State Quarter, these off-center strikes vary dramatically. Some examples show only a minor shift, perhaps a 5% or 10% off-center strike, resulting in a subtle misalignment that might easily go unnoticed by the casual observer. Yet it is the more extreme examples, those showing 30%, 40%, or even up to 60% off-center, that are the true prizes for collectors. On these coins, large portions of the design are missing, while the unstruck area remains smooth and blank, showcasing a fascinating intersection between human precision and mechanical imperfection. Collectors are particularly drawn to these off-center strikes because each one is unique. No two coins struck off-center are exactly alike. The amount of misalignment, the location of the missing design, and how well key features like the date, inscriptions, or images are preserved, all combine to create a one-of-a-kind error. For the South Carolina off-center quarter, finding an example where the date, 2000 inches, is fully visible despite a significant off-center strike is especially desirable. It allows collectors to identify the coin's origin, while appreciating the error's dramatic visual impact. The market value for these error coins can vary widely based on several factors. Mild off-center strikes, particularly those under 10%, might command only a modest premium, perhaps $5,000 to $10,000 depending on condition. However, when a South Carolina State Quarter displays a dramatic 40% or 50% off-center strike, while preserving key design elements such as the state name, date, or motto, collectors are often willing to pay hundreds, sometimes for pristine examples certified by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC. The appeal of off-center strike errors extends beyond mere monetary value. For many collectors, these coins represent a tangible glimpse into the manufacturing process of the U.S. Mint, a system that typically produces billions of coins with astonishing consistency and accuracy. Yet even in such highly automated environments, occasional malfunctions or human errors slip through, resulting in these captivating mistakes. Holding an off-center strike coin is like holding a snapshot of that rare moment when the minting process deviated from perfection, preserved forever in metal. Interestingly, off-center strike errors often spark discussions among collectors about how these coins managed to escape the Mint's rigorous quality control procedures. The U.S. Mint employs multiple layers of inspection and oversight to ensure that coins are struck correctly, and defects are identified and removed before release. Yet with the sheer volume of coins produced for the state quarters program, billions over the course of the program's 10-year run, it's not surprising that some mistakes slipped past the final checkpoints. In many cases, off-center strikes are initially discovered not by Mint employees, but by everyday individuals. People who receive an odd-looking quarter in there change and take a second glance. The discovery often leads to excitement, research, and, in many cases, the beginning of a collector's journey into the fascinating world of error coins. The 2000 South Carolina off-center strike quarters are prime examples of how these coins can ignite passion, curiosity, and even a lifelong hobby. What further elevates the allure of the South Carolina off-center strike is its place within the larger state quarters program. As one of the most successful numismatic initiatives in modern U.S. history, the state quarters program drew millions of new collectors into the hobby. For many, these quarters were their first introduction to coin collecting, a simple, accessible way to engage with American history, state pride, and the intricacies of coin design. The existence of rare errors within this already beloved series adds another layer of intrigue and excitement. Ultimately, the 2000 South Carolina State Quarter Off-Center strike stands as a perfect storm of numismatic appeal, a beautiful and meaningful design representing state heritage, coupled with a dramatic and visually striking mint error that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. For collectors who are lucky enough to own one of these rare coins, it serves not only as a prized possession, but as a reminder that even in processes governed by precision, the unexpected always holds a certain magic. Next up, the standard Georgia State quarter design is rich with symbolism and pride. At the center of the reverse side sits an outline of the state itself. Overlapping the state outline is the image of a plump peach, Georgia's most famous fruit and the inspiration behind its nickname. The peach state, encircling this are sturdy live oak branches, representing strength and endurance, with 13 leaves signifying Georgia's place as one of the original 13 colonies. Running across the design is a flowing ribbon that bears Georgia's state motto, wisdom, justice, moderation, and floating gracefully above all of this is the tiny, iconic image of the U.S. flag. But it is this small flag, often overlooked at first glance, that became the centerpiece of one of the most fascinating state quarter errors of the entire program. Unlike typical design errors caused during the initial engraving process, the wavy flag error emerged from a flaw in the die itself, the hardened steel tool used to strike the design into each blank coin planchet. Under normal conditions, the flag on the Georgia quarter is depicted with clean, straight horizontal lines that represent the flag's stripes. However, on certain error coins, collectors noticed that the flag appeared oddly distorted. Instead of the crisp, level stripes one would expect, the lines on the flag undulate, almost as if they are rippling wildly in the wind. This strange wave-like appearance earned the error its nickname, the Wavy flag. What makes the Wavy flag error so intriguing is its mystery and subtlety. Unlike some of the more dramatic and instantly noticeable errors, like off-center strikes or doubled dies, the wavy flag is much more nuanced, requiring a trained eye or close inspection to recognize. Many casual observers might handle one of these rare coins without ever noticing the anomaly. But for seasoned collectors and error specialists, this subtle warping of the flag's lines stands out like a beacon. The exact cause of the wavy flag error is still a subject of debate within the numismatic community. Most experts believe that the error originated from damage or imperfections in the die itself. One possible cause is die polishing, a maintenance process used at the mint to extend the life of a working die by removing clash marks, minor cracks, or debris. If this polishing is done unevenly or too aggressively, it can distort parts of the die's design. Alternatively, the error could have resulted from a minor die clash or mechanical issue during production that subtly altered the flag's surface. Regardless of its origin, the wavy flag error has fascinated collectors precisely because it represents a flaw that escaped the mint's rigorous quality control. In the tightly controlled environment of modern coin production, especially during the high-profile launch of the state quarters program, the fact that these coins made it into circulation is both surprising and exciting. The wavy flag error adds a compelling layer of rarity to an already popular series. With millions of Georgia quarters produced, only a very small number display this error. This scarcity fuels intense interest among collectors. The limited population of authenticated wavy flag Georgia quarters makes them highly sought after, especially in high grades. When it comes to value, the wavy flag error is a prime example of how subtle details can have a significant impact on price. For circulated examples where the wavy flag is still visible, but wear is present, values might start at around $7,000 to $12,000, depending on demand and condition. However, certified mint state examples, particularly those graded MS65 or higher by grading services such as PCGS or NGC, can command thousands of dollars, and sometimes even more, depending on market conditions and buyer competition. In rare cases, pristine examples with perfect eye appeal may approach or exceed the $15,000 mark, especially when collectors compete for the best-known specimens. What adds further allure to the wavy flag error is its position in the timeline of the state quarters program. Georgia's quarter was among the very first released. As such, it became one of the earliest known and widely discussed state quarter errors. The program was still fresh and capturing national attention, and any anomalies were quickly noticed and talked about in collector circles, coin shows, and even mainstream media outlets. The mystique surrounding this error also draws in novice collectors, who are often fascinated by the idea that such an unusual variety could be lurking in their pocket change. The state quarters program was widely circulated, with billions of quarters released into everyday commerce. This accessibility meant that anyone, from a dedicated numismatist to a curious child, had a chance to stumble upon one of these rare finds simply by examining their spare change closely. For many collectors, the thrill of the hunt for a wavy flag Georgia quarter represents the best of what coin collecting has to offer. The possibility of discovering hidden gems in the most ordinary of places. This accessibility has helped create a new generation of coin enthusiasts, many of whom continue to search, collect, and learn more about the vast world of minting errors. Furthermore, the Georgia wavy flag error serves as a fascinating educational tool for anyone interested in the coin production process. It highlights how even the most advanced minting facilities are susceptible to small imperfections, and how those imperfections can lead to valuable and historic anomalies. The die preparation, maintenance, and striking processes involve incredible precision, but when something goes slightly off course, the results can become prized collector items for years to come. In many ways, the wavy flag Georgia quarter encapsulates the magic of numismatics. It combines history, artistry, science, and a touch of mystery, all in one small piece of metal. As collectors study the subtle variations in the flag's design and marvel at how such an error could happen, they're also connecting with a broader narrative about the imperfections of mass production and the beauty that can emerge from those imperfections. Whether held as an investment, a conversation piece, or simply a cherished part of a personal collection, the 1999 Georgia State Quarter with the wavy flag error continues to capture imaginations more than 2 decades after its release. As time passes and more of these rare coins are discovered, graded, and cataloged, they remain a testament to the endless surprises that still await those who take the time to look closely at the coins in their hands. Next up, in 2004, the U.S. Mint released the Wisconsin State Quarter as part of its ongoing 50 State Quarters program, a wildly successful initiative that had then already captivated millions of Americans, from veteran numismatists to everyday citizens. As each new quarter was issued, collectors eagerly awaited any anomalies or minting errors that might arise, knowing these quirks could turn an ordinary coin into a highly coveted treasure. The Wisconsin State Quarter would soon deliver one of the most famous and sought-after errors in the entire series, the legendary extra leaf error. The standard design of the Wisconsin State Quarter is a beautifully crafted tribute to the state's rich agricultural heritage. Designed by Alfred Maletsky, the reverse side features a plump round wheel of cheese, a partially husked ear of corn, and a proud, sturdy dairy cow standing in profile. Above these symbols appears the inscription Wisconsin, along with the state's nickname Forward. The coin elegantly captures Wisconsin's contributions to America's dairy and farming industries. But it wasn't long after these quarters entered circulation that sharp-eyed collectors began noticing something strange. On certain coins, just beneath the ear of corn, there appeared an extra leaf, something not present on the standard design. Upon closer examination, it became clear that 2 distinct variations of this error existed. One version, dubbed the extra leaf high, featured an additional leaf that pointed upwards. The other, known as the extra leaf low, had a leaf that curved downward. Both versions of the extra leaf error sent waves of excitement through the numismatic world. Unlike some other coin errors that stem from striking mistakes or off-center planchets, the extra leaf error is widely believed to have resulted from intentional or accidental damage to one or more dies at the Denver Mint. Many experts theorize that while Mint employees were manually polishing or repairing the dies, they inadvertently gouged or altered the die surface, creating the appearance of an additional leaf on the corn stalk. Whether this alteration was purely accidental or the result of mischief remains a point of speculation and debate within the numismatic community. What is particularly fascinating about the extra leaf error is how localized and specific it is. The majority of these error coins have been traced to quarters produced at the Denver Mint, identifiable by the small D mint mark on the coin's obverse. While the Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of Wisconsin quarters, it is primarily the Denver issues that display these extra leaf varieties. This geographic specificity adds an intriguing layer of rarity and mystery, as only a limited subset of the total mintage contains these coveted variations. As word spread of the extra leaf discovery, interest in the Wisconsin quarter surged across the country. Suddenly, pocket change that might have been overlooked became a potential gold mine. Collectors, treasure hunters, and even the general public began scrutinizing their quarters for signs of the extra leaf, leading to a modern-day coin-hunting frenzy. News outlets, websites, and collector forums buzzed with reports of finds, prices, and speculation. For many, it was their first experience with the excitement and adrenaline rush of error coin hunting. The market quickly responded to the surge in demand. Early discoveries of the extra leaf high and extra leaf low varieties sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars, depending on condition and certification. Some examples in pristine mint state grades, particularly those graded MS66 or MS67 by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, have fetched prices exceeding $20,000 to $30,000. Even circulated examples continue to command impressive premiums, often selling for several $100s depending on the clarity of the error and the overall condition of the coin. Beyond its monetary value, the extra leaf error holds a special place in the hearts of collectors because it embodies several elements that make error collecting so captivating: the mystery of its origin, the thrill of the hunt, the uniqueness of each discovery, and the historical significance of its place within one of America's most beloved coin series. In the broader context of mint errors, the Wisconsin extra leaf is particularly notable because it involves an alteration to the die itself rather than a random mechanical mishap. This means that every coin struck by the altered die will bear the same distinct error, creating a collectible die variety rather than a one-time production anomaly. These types of errors allow collectors to trace the life and usage of a specific die within the minting process, adding a layer of scientific intrigue to the hobby. The extra leaf error also serves as an educational case study in how even in highly controlled, modern minting facilities, the human element can never be fully eliminated. The U.S. Mint employs advanced technology, rigorous quality controls, and highly trained personnel to produce billions of coins each year with remarkable consistency. Yet even with these safeguards in place, unexpected events, whether accidents, oversight, or perhaps even deliberate tampering, can slip through, resulting in fascinating varieties like the extra leaf Wisconsin quarter. Adding to its appeal is the fact that this error emerged relatively early in the life of the state quarters program, capturing the attention of both seasoned numismatists and the general public, while the program was still at the height of its popularity. For many collectors, the extra leaf discovery represents a defining moment in the state quarters era, a reminder that even amid the vast seas of mass-produced currency, rare and valuable treasures still lie hidden in plain sight. Today, more than 2 decades after their initial release, the extra leaf Wisconsin quarters continue to command strong interest in the collector marketplace. Certified high-grade examples remain highly desirable, while raw coins still spark excitement whenever a new one is discovered. The error has been thoroughly documented and studied, ensuring its place in numismatic history as one of the most famous and visually distinct mint errors of the state quarters series. Next up, in 2005, the United States Mint released the Kansas State Quarter as part of the celebrated 50 State Quarters program, which by this time had already captivated the imagination of millions of collectors across the country. Each coin in the series told a unique story about its respective state, offering a blend of history, culture, and symbolism that transformed ordinary pocket change into miniature works of art. The Kansas State Quarter, with its clean and bold design, would become one of the most recognizable of the series, not only for its striking imagery but for one of the most famous modern mint errors. The "In God We Rust" error. The official design of the Kansas State Quarter features the proud image of an American bison, standing majestically in the foreground of the coin. To its right are a few delicate stalks of native sunflower, the state flower of Kansas. Above the bison appears the state's name, Kansas, along with the year of statehood, 1861, and at the bottom the minting year, 2005. On the obverse side, like all state quarters, is the familiar portrait of George Washington, accompanied by the inscriptions, United States of America, $quarter, Liberty, and the national motto, In God We Trust. But for some of these Kansas quarters, something was missing, or more precisely, something failed to appear correctly during the minting process. On these error coins, the motto, In God We Trust, displayed an almost comical omission. The T in the word trust was either faint, partially missing, or in some cases, completely absent. What remained was the phrase, In God We Rust. A striking and unintentional alteration that immediately captured the attention of collectors and casual observers alike. The origin of this unusual error lies not in the engraving or the die creation itself, but rather in the physical condition of the die during the coin's production run. Over time, as dies repeatedly strike blank planchets, they accumulate microscopic debris, metal shavings, grease, and other foreign substances, a phenomenon commonly referred to as die fill or grease fill. When excess grease or debris fills the recessed areas of the die that form specific design elements, those elements fail to fully transfer onto the coin's surface during striking. In this case, the grease lodged in the die cavity for the T in trust, leading to the partial or complete omission of the letter on the struck coin. What makes the In God We Rust error especially fascinating is the way it perfectly illustrates how minor mechanical and environmental factors at the mint can produce highly collectible varieties. Unlike major striking errors or dramatic die cracks, die fill errors are relatively common in modern minting, but few are as visually amusing or as widely publicized as this Kansas quarter mistake. When these error coins first began to surface in circulation, they quickly captured public imagination, in part because the resulting phrase was both humorous and easily recognizable. News media outlets, coin forums, and collector communities spread word of the error like wildfire, fueling a nationwide hunt for In God We Rust Kansas quarters. The accessibility of the state quarters program meant that anyone, from seasoned numismatists to curious individuals emptying their spare change jars, could participate in the search. One of the remarkable aspects of the In God We Rust error is that it demonstrates how even in highly automated, technologically advanced minting facilities, absolute perfection remains elusive. The U.S. Mint employs state-of-the-art machinery, precision-crafted dies, and stringent quality control measures. Yet even with all these safeguards, minor issues like die fill can still occur, slipping past inspection and entering circulation. This reality adds a layer of human imperfection to the mass production process, reminding collectors that every coin carries with it a unique history of its creation. Collectors value these Kansas error quarters for several reasons. First, the error itself is easily recognizable, even to non-experts, which enhances its appeal to a broad audience. Second, the sheer humor and irony of the altered motto create a memorable collecting story, one that stands out even among other mint errors. Third, while not exceedingly rare, high-grade examples remain difficult to find, especially those that exhibit a complete or near-complete absence of the T. The value of a Kansas, In God We Rust error quarter depends largely on its condition and the severity of the die fill. Light grease fills, where only part of the T is missing, tend to command modest premiums, often ranging from $18,000 to $22,000, depending on grade and eye appeal. However, more dramatic examples where the T is entirely absent, and the phrase reads unmistakably as In God We Rust, are much more desirable. Mint state specimens, particularly those graded MS65 or higher by PCGS or NGC, can sell for thousands of dollars, with the very finest examples occasionally reaching even higher values in the marketplace. Another important element of this error's appeal is its place within the broader story of the state quarters program. By 2005, the program was at its peak, and millions of Americans were actively engaged in collecting each new release. The discovery of a widely publicized error like the "In God We Rust" Kansas quarter brought even more attention to the hobby, helping to introduce new collectors to the world of numismatics. For many, finding one of these errors became not only a financial win, but an unforgettable introduction to the fascinating world of coin collecting. In the years since its discovery, the Kansas State Quarter, "In God We Rust" error has achieved an almost legendary status among modern U.S. coin errors. It frequently appears in articles, videos, and lists of famous coin mistakes, making it one of the most recognizable and widely discussed errors in recent numismatic history. It serves as a reminder that, even in the world of precision minting, small accidents can lead to major collecting opportunities. For the dedicated collector, owning one of these Kansas error quarters is about more than its monetary value. It's about holding a piece of the state quarters program's vibrant legacy. The coin represents the intersection of artistry, mechanical engineering, and the unpredictable nature of mass production. And above all, it embodies the magic of numismatics, where even the smallest imperfection can transform a simple coin into a captivating artifact with a story all its own. Whether discovered in pocket change or acquired through a dealer, the 2005 Kansas State Quarter, "In God We Rust" error continues to captivate, amuse, and educate collectors and enthusiasts to this day. It remains a shining example of how even one missing letter can create one of the most memorable moments in modern American coinage. Next up, the launch of the 50 State Quarters program in 1999 marked the beginning of one of the most popular numismatic ventures in U.S. mint history. The very first coin to inaugurate this monumental program was the Delaware State Quarter, setting the stage for what would become a nationwide collecting craze lasting over a decade. But as with many ambitious projects, the combination of mass production and complex designs sometimes led to unexpected minting anomalies. And from these imperfections, a truly fascinating error emerged, the now famous spitting horse error on the Delaware State Quarter. The Delaware State Quarter design is a striking homage to one of the state's most iconic historical figures, Caesar Rodney. The coin features Rodney heroically riding horseback, symbolizing his legendary 70-mile overnight journey to Philadelphia in 1776 to cast Delaware's crucial vote for American independence. Rodney's determined ride through rain and illness to secure Delaware's place in the fight for freedom made him an enduring figure in American revolutionary lore. Above Rodney and his galloping horse are the inscriptions "Delaware" and 1787, commemorating the year Delaware became the first state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. Along the bottom edge of the coin are the words "the first state" and the year of issue, 1999, proudly identifying Delaware as the first entry in the ambitious state quarters program. At first glance, the coin's design appears crisp, elegant, and free of flaw. But sharp-eyed collectors soon began noticing an unusual anomaly appearing just ahead of the horse's mouth. Upon closer inspection, some coins appeared to show a small, raised line extending outward, almost as if the horse itself was emitting a tiny stream or jet of liquid, hence the playful nickname, the spitting horse error. The root cause of this peculiar error lies in the phenomenon of die cracks, small fractures that develop in the minting dies over time due to the immense pressure and repetitive use involved in striking millions of coins. These hairline fractures create raised lines on the coin's surface, wherever the crack appears on the die. In the case of the Delaware Quarter, a die crack formed at precisely the right position ahead of the horse's mouth, creating the illusion that the horse was spitting or breathing out mist. Unlike some other more dramatic or eye-catching errors, the spitting horse error is subtle and requires careful observation. Depending on the severity and length of the die crack, the raised line may vary from coin to coin, creating slight variations among specimens. On some examples, the crack is short and faint, while on others, it is longer and more prominent, making the spit appear more pronounced. What makes the spitting horse error particularly captivating to collectors is the combination of its humor, accessibility, and variety. The very nature of die cracks means that they often evolve over time, beginning as tiny fissures that gradually lengthen and widen with continued die usage. This results in multiple stages of the error, with early-stage cracks being less noticeable and later-stage cracks becoming more dramatic. Collectors often seek out multiple examples to document the progressive stages of the die crack's development. Another factor contributing to the spitting horse error's popularity is its position as the very first notable error of the entire state quarters program. As the inaugural release, the Delaware quarter already holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. The discovery of an amusing and unique error so early in the program only added to its mystique and collectability. For many, the spitting horse represents the beginning of an entire era of error hunting within the state quarters series. Unlike extremely rare or one-of-a-kind minting errors, the spitting horse error is relatively attainable, making it an excellent entry point for both novice collectors and seasoned numismatists. Large numbers of Delaware quarters were produced, and while only a small fraction display the spitting horse error, enough examples exist in circulation to make hunting for one a rewarding pursuit for everyday collectors. In terms of value, the spitting horse error occupies a middle ground within the world of mint errors. Circulated examples where the die crack is clearly visible often sell for $20,000 to $25,000, depending on condition and crack severity. Higher-grade specimens that have been professionally graded and encapsulated by services such as PCGS or NGC can command prices ranging from $27,500 to $30,000 for particularly dramatic examples. The combination of grade, visibility of the crack, and collector demand all play a role in determining the coin's market value. Beyond its monetary worth, the spitting horse error serves as a perfect teaching tool in understanding how die deterioration and die cracks occur. The U.S. Mint produces coins at astonishing speeds, with each die striking hundreds of thousands, or even millions, of coins before being retired. Over time, even the hardest steel dies begin to wear and fatigue under the constant stress, leading to microscopic fractures that evolve into visible die cracks. The spitting horse error offers a textbook example of how such cracks manifest on struck coins, turning ordinary mechanical fatigue into a fascinating collecting variety. The Delaware spitting horse error also illustrates the simple joy of coin collecting, the thrill of finding something rare and unusual in the most ordinary of places. Countless individuals have discovered this error simply by inspecting pocket change or sifting through coin jars at home. This accessibility keeps the excitement of the hobby alive and demonstrates that valuable finds are not limited to expensive coin shows or high-end auctions. Sometimes, they're hiding right in plain sight. Over 2 decades after its discovery, the Delaware State Quarter spitting horse error continues to be one of the most beloved and widely discussed errors in the entire state quarters program. Its blend of historical significance, visual humor, technical interest, and collectability ensures that it remains a staple of error coin discussions. Featured prominently in guides, articles, and collector showcases, for many collectors, acquiring a Delaware spitting horse error is more than just adding a coin to a collection. It's about owning a small piece of numismatic history that perfectly encapsulates the unexpected wonders that coin collecting offers. From its humble beginnings as a minor die crack to its place as one of the most recognizable errors in modern U.S. coinage, the spitting horse stands as a shining example of how even the tiniest imperfection can transform a common coin into a treasured artifact with a story to tell.